Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Life Insight. Today, we're exploring one of the most fascinating topics in the world, psychology facts. Psychology helps us understand how people think, feel, behave, make decisions, build relationships, and respond to the world around them. Many of the things we do every day are influenced by psychological principles without us even realizing it. Let's dive into some interesting psychology facts and discover what they reveal about human nature. What is psychology? Psychology is the scientific study of the human mind and behavior. It helps us understand why people think the way they do, why they feel certain emotions, and why they behave in specific ways. Psychology explores everything from memory and learning to love, motivation, fear, happiness, and decision-making. Understanding psychology is valuable because it helps us better understand ourselves and the people around us. When we understand human behavior, we can improve our relationships, communication, personal growth, and overall quality of life. Why do first impressions matter? One of the most interesting psychology facts is that people often form first impressions within seconds of meeting someone. Before a person even speaks, others may begin making judgments based on appearance, body language, facial expressions, posture, and confidence. These first impressions can significantly influence future interactions. Although first impressions are not always accurate, they often shape how people perceive us initially. This is why confidence, friendliness, and positive body language can have a powerful impact when meeting new people. Why do people remember negative experiences more than positive ones? The human brain naturally pays more attention to negative experiences than positive ones. Psychologists call this the negativity bias. From an evolutionary perspective, remembering dangers helped humans survive. Our ancestors needed to remember threats more than pleasant experiences. As a result, negative comments, failures, or embarrassing moments often stay in our minds much longer than compliments or successes. Understanding this bias helps us realize that our minds may sometimes exaggerate negative experiences while overlooking positive ones. Why do people overthink? Overthinking often happens because the brain tries to predict future outcomes and avoid mistakes. When faced with uncertainty, the mind may repeatedly analyze situations in search of the perfect solution. Unfortunately, excessive thinking can create stress and anxiety instead of clarity. The more we focus on possibilities we cannot control, the more overwhelmed we become. Psychology teaches us that action often reduces anxiety more effectively than endless analysis. Taking small steps forward can be more helpful than waiting for perfect certainty. Why do people compare themselves to others? Humans naturally compare themselves to others to evaluate their own progress, abilities, and social standing. This tendency is known as social comparison. While comparison can sometimes motivate improvement, excessive comparison often leads to dissatisfaction and low self-esteem. Social media has intensified this problem because people frequently compare their real lives to carefully edited highlights of others. A healthier approach is compare yourself to your past self rather than constantly measuring yourself against others. Why is confidence attractive? Confidence is attractive because it signals self-belief, competence, and emotional stability. People are naturally drawn to individuals who appear comfortable with themselves. Interestingly, confidence is often more attractive than physical appearance alone. Someone who speaks clearly, maintains eye contact, and carries themselves with confidence often leaves a stronger impression than someone who relies solely on appearance. True confidence comes from self-acceptance, experience, and personal growth rather than external validation. Why do people seek approval? Humans are social creatures. Throughout history, belonging to a group increased the chances of survival. As a result, people naturally desire acceptance and approval from others. While seeking some level of approval is normal, problems arise when self-worth depends entirely on external validation. People who constantly seek approval may struggle to make independent decisions and may sacrifice their own values to please others. Psychology encourages developing internal confidence rather than relying solely on the opinions of others. Why do habits become automatic? Habits form because the brain seeks efficiency. Once a behavior is repeated enough times, the brain creates neural pathways that make the action easier to perform. This process allows us to complete routine tasks without using significant mental energy. While this helps us function efficiently, it also explains why bad habits can be difficult to break. The good news is that new habits can replace old ones through consistent repetition and practice. Why do people procrastinate? Many people believe procrastination is caused by laziness, but psychology suggests otherwise. Procrastination is often linked to emotions such as fear, anxiety, perfectionism, or self-doubt. When a task feels overwhelming, the brain seeks immediate comfort by avoiding it. Unfortunately, avoidance usually creates more stress in the long run. Breaking large tasks into smaller steps can reduce psychological resistance and make action easier. Why do people fall in love? Love is influenced by a combination of biological, psychological, and social factors. Attraction often begins with physical appearance, shared interests, personality traits, and emotional connection. When people experience romantic attraction, the brain releases chemicals associated with pleasure, motivation, and attachment. These chemicals create feelings of excitement and happiness. However, long-lasting love depends on more than attraction. Trust, communication, respect, and shared values play crucial roles in maintaining healthy relationships. Why do people fear rejection? Fear of rejection is deeply connected to our need for social acceptance. Being rejected can trigger emotional pain because the brain interprets social exclusion as a threat. This fear often prevents people from pursuing opportunities, expressing feelings, or taking risks. However, psychology teaches that rejection is a normal part of life and does not determine personal worth. Learning to accept rejection as feedback rather than failure can significantly improve confidence and resilience. Why do people lie? People lie for many different reasons. Some lie to avoid punishment, protect themselves, gain advantages, impress others, or avoid hurting someone's feelings. Interestingly, most lies are relatively small and harmless. However, repeated dishonesty can damage trust and relationships. Psychology suggests that people are more likely to be honest when they feel safe, respected, and understood rather than judged or threatened. Why does body language matter? Body language communicates information even when no words are spoken. Facial expressions, gestures, posture, and eye contact often reveal emotions and intentions. Research suggests that a significant portion of communication comes from nonverbal cues. This is why people often notice inconsistencies between words and body language. Developing awareness of body language can improve communication and help us better understand others. Why do people follow crowds? Humans naturally seek social belonging. When uncertain about what to do, people often look to others for guidance. This tendency is known as social proof. While following the crowd can sometimes be helpful, it can also lead people to make poor decisions if the group is wrong. Independent thinking is important because popularity does not always equal correctness. Why do people remember emotional events? Strong emotions enhance memory formation. Events associated with happiness, fear, excitement, sadness, or surprise are often remembered more clearly than ordinary experiences. The brain prioritizes emotionally significant information because it may contain important lessons for future situations. This explains why many people vividly remember important life events years after they occur. Why do people avoid change? The brain prefers familiarity because it feels safe and predictable. Even when current circumstances are unsatisfying, change introduces uncertainty. As a result, people often resist new opportunities, habits, or environments despite potential benefits. Personal growth usually requires stepping outside of comfort zones and embracing temporary discomfort. Why is gratitude powerful? Psychology research consistently shows that gratitude improves emotional well-being. When people focus on what they appreciate, they train their brains to notice positive aspects of life. Gratitude does not eliminate challenges, but it helps balance attention between problems and blessings. People who regularly practice gratitude often report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction. Why do successful people think differently? Successful individuals often focus on long-term goals rather than immediate gratification. They are willing to delay rewards, learn from mistakes, and persist through difficulties. Psychology shows that mindset plays a major role in achievement. People who view challenges as opportunities for growth tend to perform better than those who fear failure. Success is often less about talent and more about consistency, discipline, and resilience. Why is self-talk important? The conversations we have with ourselves influence emotions, behavior, and confidence. Negative self-talk can increase stress and reduce motivation. Positive and realistic self-talk helps people maintain perspective during difficult situations. Psychology teaches that changing internal dialogue can significantly improve mental well-being and performance. Why do people become happier when helping others? Acts of kindness activate areas of the brain associated with pleasure and satisfaction. Helping others often creates a sense of meaning, connection, and purpose. Psychologists have found that generosity benefits both the receiver and the giver. This is one reason why volunteering, supporting friends, and showing compassion often improve personal happiness. What is the biggest psychology fact? Perhaps the most important psychology fact is this: your thoughts influence your reality more than you may realize. The way you interpret events often matters more than the events themselves. Two people can experience the same situation but react completely differently based on their beliefs and perspectives. While we cannot control everything that happens in life, we can learn to manage our mindset, emotions, and responses. This ability has a profound impact on happiness, relationships, and success. Conclusion: thank you for joining me today on Life Insight as we explored some fascinating psychology facts. Psychology helps us understand ourselves, improve our relationships, make better decisions, and grow as individuals. The more we learn about human behavior, the more effectively we can navigate life's challenges and opportunities. Remember, understanding others begins with understanding yourself. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Life Insight. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep exploring the fascinating world of the human mind. Goodbye, everyone.